Good evening and welcome to the Shadows of New Orleans. Tonight we'll be having our winter solstice scene. I realize we're a few days late for some other reasons, so we will be backdating this scene uh, accordingly. The night of the winter solstice in New Orleans this year is a relevant event because Papa Midnight, a local uh, voodoo man, has obtained permits and organized a festival known as Paganfest for non-traditional faiths to celebrate and practice publicly. He's gotten a number of the streets in the French Quarter closed. Courtyards, he's obtained burn permits for courtyards, for bonfires. There's places he's obtained the appropriate permits for those who are doing any of the traditional chicken slaughtering, that sort of thing, with reading of entrails, appropriate to the different faiths. So, to that end, he had previously mentioned this to both Avalon and to Auntie the night they had visited. The Crossroads, his tavern, is probably the most wide, high activity area, simply because he's the one who's organized it. The doors are propped open. He's asked that no fires be started in front of his building, but there are other practices occurring there. Some more traditional than others, but a large amount does revolve around the Haitian voodoo, the Creole hoodoo practices, particularly because of location in his practice. But there's some others out as well, including a group of traditional European Wiccans. There's some native practitioners who are out and about. There's actually one small area that's been dedicated to the more Eastern practices, Taoism specifically. So it's a very diverse night. Many of the specialty shops are open later as well. Herb shops, cult shops. There are a couple of steampunk sort of pseudoscientists. They mix their inventions into a almost spiritualism with alchemy, and their shop is open late as well. So as you guys would move through the French Quarter, all these different practices are maybe not mingling, but brushing shoulders relatively peacefully. Everybody's getting along, and the common theme seems to kind of be this standing together of those groups that are otherwise overlooked, otherwise ignored.
Are you waiting for us to jump in now?
You guys are free to jump in anytime you would like.
Okay, well, Bonte is definitely uh, walking the crowds and feeling that energy. She's very kind of touchy feely, so she'll occasionally just like run her hands across somebody's back, and she's keeping her eyes on anybody that seems to stick out, like almost like a sense of it's their time to her. Otherwise, she's just smiling and flirting and whatnot with whoever she seems to catch the fancy of.
All right.
Avalon's just also wandering the crowds, checking things out. She's gonna dog. Okay, she's
Currently
got
being
some of
barked
her.
at by a stray dog.
She's gonna be passing out some of her business cards, etc. She's gonna be carrying some samples of miscellaneous herbs and. But she's mostly, I mean, sticking around the all the all of the stuff, but her obviously in the European stuff.
All right. Um, I am going to have let's have Monty do a perception awareness.
All right. Will attentive come into play?
Yes.
Okay. As soon as it finishes loading them. Let's see. That is 4 successes.
All right. One of the things you'll notice is that looking for people who maybe it's coming due to their time, there don't seem to be any. Um, almost as if you get this sense that fate has kind of been suspended tonight. Um, it's a fulcrum point, but uh, things are changing, but nothing is conclusive now. Another thing you would notice is that a lot of the um, spirits of the dead, wraiths and stuff, while they're active, they're not really restless so much as just very observant, very involved.
Is there anyone or anything in particular that they seem to have that seems to have their attention?
Well, there's a couple of key spots and a couple of key people that are drawing them more than others.
She's gonna pass near these areas or people and see if she can see what she can get off of them. If there are people that she knows and whatnot. She knows like the Giovanni do family stuff that she doesn't know if they're necessarily here.
Right.
So she'll just take her time and kind of peruse these people and places that seem to have the spiritually inclined things attention. See what she can make of them.
All right. While you're doing that, I will get a let's do a perception empathy from Avalon.
Okay, let's see. On character sheet. Oh, flat perception. Got it. I wanted to buy the XP. One.
All right, one with a perception empathy. You would pick up on a couple of key people for there's one gentleman who's a European Wicca practitioner leading a group. Obviously, a regular active leader in that community. Beyond that, it's not terribly clear who individual leaders are. Although you do notice one who he's moving through the crowds dressed in street clothes, but you've met him before, is Luther Gaines, who is a Baptist preacher.
Oh, the preacher from the boat.
A couple of them that Bonte would notice. One is a Asian man, quite well dressed, kind of over by the Taoist gathering, but the ancestors and the spirits of the dead kind of seem to mill about him, and almost as if they're having a debate, like a actual conversation with him. And there's another young man who moves through the groups, and he kind of mixes and mingles with everybody, but the spirits kind of swirl around him. And you get the impression that he could quite easily, just reach out and touch them directly if he wanted to.
She'll move to be near one of these people, especially the Asian man, to see if she can hear what the conversation is.
Give me a perception alertness.
Not deem 19.
That would be a hell of a dice pool.
I would. I have 2 successes.
You can't make out all of it, but a big part of it seems to be he's actually debating theology with spirits, with these ancestors, and based on their experiences.
She's just gonna smile and kind of give a little nod of like that, like acknowledgement, interest, like that's an interesting thing to do. She's mostly nodding to herself, not to anybody in particular. If that makes sense.
Yep.
She's gonna try and keep her eye on this other fella though, see where he goes if she can.
Avalon's kind of watching Luther to see what he's just here, like whether he's just like enjoying things and checking it out, or is slightly to what he would be doing at a pagan type fest.
Give me a perception alertness, or awareness, rather.
Or
With 4, you would be able to notice that there's actually a couple of like spirits of the land that he's interacting with.
all right, that's definitely very interesting.
And then the other gentleman that you were watching, Bontees, appears to. Uh, you're not sure that he's necessarily a practitioner of any of these other faiths, but he seems to know enough about them that he can kind of mingle with them. You know, he knows bits and pieces. He seems welcome among every group, even though he doesn't actually practice with them necessarily.
Okay.
Um, and as he continues, he's just kind of picking up uh, not necessarily followers, but people that kind of chat with him are talking with him, are uh, moving from one faith to the next. So he's kind of inadvertently creating a mingling of the believers as well.
Interesting. Okay. And she's gonna keep moving though, because she doesn't want anybody to be in the
Suspicious.
proximity of her for too long. Because she doesn't want to make people start hearing the crying.
Gotcha.
But that sweet aroma will linger where she's been.
Give me. Actually, I don't need you to necessarily give me a roll. You just kind of notice a particular group, and they're all dressed very differently. One is kind of Hispanic looking gal with tattoos, dressed in like a cut off sleeves and kind of a Hispanic looking shawl. Um, one's a larger tattooed, looks like Northern European, blonde, blue eyed. There's a fellow who appears to have darker skin, but it's hard to tell. He's wrapped in um, kind of tighter fitting, but real dark robes with gold trim, very Middle Eastern looking. Um, this is very eclectic group that they seem to be sticking together as they walk through everything, and there's a almost palpable sense of energy rolling off of them.
Are there similarities in tattoos of kind or placement? Of kind
Uh,
and placement?
They're not. Uh,
Tattoos just seem to be random tattoos, not markings of certain types.
well, each the ones that have tattoos have, it seems to be kind of a theme. So the Norseman looking guy is covered in like very animal, a lot of animal Ed Hardy style tattoos, but all animals, tigers, hawks, that sort of thing. The uh, woman has very like the Mayan style tattoos. One of the guys is a younger guy and kind of dressed in like a neo gothic look, and he's got like the tattoos up his neck and stuff of the like the Illuminati eye and the very um like urban magic conspiracy occult type images.
Okay.
So um each person kind of has their own theme, but there doesn't appear to be a theme between them.
That especially the neo goth guy. Uh, for some reason, his description gave me butterflies. So I'm gonna say Bonti's gonna kind of keep her distance from them, but like something about them doesn't seem right to me or her. So she's gonna keep her distance, but keep an eye on them to make sure that they're not causing trouble. Because she is friends with the person running this, and she doesn't want this to be ruined or have to deal with fallout from it. That makes sense.
Yep.
Hmm. Kind of, like I said, is watching things from a distance and kind of keeping an eye on Luther, but not really because there's so much going on.
Sure.
Just kind of looking to see also if anyone brought any some of the pagan religions have some ties to animals, so she's looking around for those.
There's obviously a variety. Most notable is some of the voodoo practitioners are doing, as I mentioned, they've got kind of like the doing the sacrifice, reading of entrails type. But others do have animals present. Um, there's a the hoodoo practices with the snakes. One of the Wiccans actually has an owl.
Ooh. She's probably thinking, dang, should have brought Bran with me.
I'm not sure if that was your intent, but I totally read that as hey hey, and I thought of the chicken from Moana.
That is who Hey Hey is.
Exactly what I thought. Intention. Poor. So, are there any kind of other various activities going on?
Well, this gentleman has been you notice walking with Papa Midnight, um, and he's uh, previously only ever been encountered in the Baron's Elysium, sitting in the back on a very large chair
Gotcha.
among the vampires. So you would recognize him.
I'll give them a friendly nod and smile.
Some of the less public areas are engaging in um, like various fertility rites, that sort of thing. There's a small group of looks like Greek practitioners, following the old Greek pantheon.
Okay.
And so they've got kind of a setup for it's an area that's been scattered with um, different plants that are holy to various Greek deities, that sort of thing.
Okay. Okay. Uh, just gonna continue checking out the area, and just out of curiosity, are any of her people here? It might stand to reason that some of them might opt to check this out.
Some of them are kind of wandering through.
Gotcha.
The you would Monty would notice that the group she'd noticed earlier kind of make sure to make a pass, and they actually do a full circuit around the crossroads, and you can roll a perception awareness if you want.
All of us are just Bonte here.
That would be just Monty unless Tiger's playing the doctor.
4 successes.
All right, you would notice that after they had done a circuit, they basically gave some quintessence into the crossroads, which you would notice even more so this time than last time is in and of itself a will spring. It's a node as well as being a sanctum.
Now this has definitely got her attention.
They give a polite nod to Papa Midnight just after doing so as well.
Did their path around things make a certain pattern?
It seemed to be a very accurate circle.
Interesting. She was gonna put that piece of information away then. They've paid respect to Papa Midnight, so she no longer has to worry about them fucking things up for the moment.
Tiger, if you feel wish to intro, feel free.
Sorry, I was making sure I wasn't intruding on anything. Yeah, drinks will roll up to this take place at the crossroads.
Most of the French Quarter, but primarily the crossroads.
Oh. All right, drinks will roll up. Justin is and Jean's already smelling faintly of liquor, given his general hobby. Yeah, he'll pop into the. Hang on, let me refresh. Do I sound better?
Slightly.
Slightly. Okay. I don't know if it's going to get any better, so. yeah, drinks will roll into the crossroads, or smelling faintly of liquor. And he'll probably beeline straight for the bar, ignoring whatever festivities are going on.
All right. Well, the bar is fairly well stocked, and then certainly can provide you with whatever it is you're looking for.
He's going to rattle off a bunch of different drink orders and then tell the bartender that he wants to start off slow for the night.
The bartender will chuckle and he kind of gestures outside and he says, "Why start slow? No one else is. It is, after all, Paganfest."
I don't like that. I don't like following the crowd. But assuming he gets his drinks, he will pay the man with what he has in his pockets. And
I totally see him like counting out like quarters to pay for his drinks.
it's like, hang on, almost there. Almost got enough. Yeah, just enough. And here's a little bit of a tip. It's like a bus pass.
All right, they will fill your order relatively quickly. He tells you that he thinks there are free beverages at some of the festivities outside. Just so you're aware.
He downs the drinks and says, "Thank you for your service." But he'll go out and join the rest of the Are they sufficient?
Yeah.
You got it.
All right.
Is that guy with the spirit still gaining a big following of people moving around?
They kind of gain and lose.
When he starts getting to her section of people, she's going to make her way over and meet him.
All right. You'll swing over to kind of bump into him as she gets into that area.
I wouldn't necessarily bump into him,
Well,
although that might.
Not literally, Ness. so to speak. But
yeah.
all right. He's a relatively young man. Dress kind of almost looks like a college kid type. You know, he's got the button down shirt, sleeves rolled up, half unbuttoned. But you know that one of the things you'll notice about him is that he has um, like on his necklace. He's got a necklace hanging under his shirt, and you can see um, a lot of different symbols. There's an Egyptian ankh. There's um, like symbols of the various Greek deities, Norse deities. There's a pentagram. It's kind of got just like a little bit of everything mixed in. Um, and a couple of the people chat with them as they kind of wander in to join these other voodoo practitioners. Um, and it's not people that appear like they would normally seek out these practices. You know, he's got people who look like they'd be more comfortable with like the European Wiccan practices. She's got like the gutter magic looking, you know, neo punk guys, and they're like in observing and participating in these voodoo practices. And he just kind of seems to chat with everybody on everything as you get nearer to him.
Well, it would be rude to interrupt, but she will make it very obvious that she's there, so that when he's got a moment, she may enter into the conversation.
And he transitions over pretty easily from who he was talking to. Um, just you know, finishes up with one of them, and he says, "Oh, good evening to you. I'm Jacob Evans, and you'll forgive me an assumption, but I gather you're quite comfortable in this group. You look like you're quite familiar with the practices."
Oh, you could say that, man. These are my people. This is my home. This is my life, as it were. And she will extend her hand out. Bunty, Mr. Jacob Evans.
Pleasure, pleasure.
You are a peculiar one.
Yeah, it's not the first time I've been called that, and that's not the meanest thing I've been called, so
Peculiar is not bad. What drags you to all the different groups, yet seems to keep you separate?
I'm going to imagine it's my familiarity with all of them and the recognition of each of them. See, I found long ago that one doesn't have to believe in one thing to the exclusion of others. I found that the underlying core is universal. And he gestures around and he says, of all of these groups, you yourself, there are beliefs that are universal to each and every one of them. You might see them by a different name, but that does not change who and what they are. That which you see as the Barons, Samedi and LaCroix, a Greek might see as Hades. A Celt might see as the Morrigan herself. You go far enough back, even Babylon had a name for death. But at the end of the day, no matter what name you place on it, what traits, whatever characteristics you give to it, death is a universal. Fire, air, no matter who governs it, no matter who manifests within it or around it or through it, these things are tangible truths. So
She looks like she's taking in what he's saying. She looks very contemplative at it, and that's her expression as he's speaking.
It's so tangible that even those Christians who would put everything under the purview of one great deity still had manifestations for death. They had a horseman in their deities. They had the Sikhs and the Islams have an archangel of death. These are universals. Speak of fire. They recognize fire as such a powerful element that even while their God rules over everything, there's a land of fire ruled over by someone else. There are certain fundamentals that humanity as a whole is forced to believe in because we face them on a daily basis. And when you can acknowledge the fundamental and respect the names and faces others put on them, you find that where once there was conflict, now there can be a harmony and an understanding, a joining. And he kind of gestures to some of the people who have mingled into this voodoo practice, and he says, and suddenly instead of each faith being a separate path, they're strands of a web. One might pursue one strand to a point and then cross to another.
That's definitely an interesting point of view. It has a lot of merit, but I find a bit strikes at me unpleasantly. You say that death is all one thing and doesn't matter what you call it by.
Well, what you call it
But
by absolutely matters. It changes how you view it, how you interact with it. But at the end of the day, whatever you call it by, at its core, it is still death. How you label it matters to you and to those around you, but it doesn't matter to death.
Have you asked Death?
He just kind of chuckles and says, "Which one?"
Exactly. If you have to say which one, then it's not just death. There's much more to it than one name.
Just as an actor may wear many masks and have different personalities, just as a person may have different faces. So to my death, those can fundamentally be different, but doesn't
Let me
change
pose
the
an
core.
idea to you then. Think of it more. I always thought of it more as they are not masks or faces of one being. I think of them as being multiple beings doing the same service, but in different ways.
And that would be a similar abstraction of the same fundamental. They might be doing they may be different beings, but that service of death is still universal to all of them. Perhaps they are not different faces, but indeed different beings. But even as different beings, they overlap. They are connected by those underlying principles.
There will always be commonalities with those who bear the weight of death upon them, those who are entrusted with the life beyond this one.
That's a valid point as well. I don't pretend to know all the answers, just to look for them.
Looking for answers is always good.
And when you look under a certain fashion, you'll find a acceptance among those who also seek those answers.
She'll give him a smile and a nod. You are new here, yes?
Not new so much as always in some transition.
Transition from what to what? Like the caterpillar to the butterfly, the larva to the fly, boy to the man.
Perhaps simply from here to there. They have served for those who do not want a particular faith, or perhaps want those of part many faiths when they encounter the restless dead or an angry spirit of the land. They know that they can call me because Jacob does not bring judgment. Jacob doesn't bring faith. Jacob brings the opportunity for discussion. The dead don't need to be driven out. They don't need to be released. They don't need to be drawn or baited or pulled or pushed or banished. They need to be heard. Just as the spirits of the land. We fear tsunamis and earthquakes, but if we would have listened sooner, could we have perhaps heard them before they were forced to scream?
Would people have acted on what they were told, though? Many of those in power do not believe in it. They call it hocus pocus mumbo jumbo, as they always have.
We don't need to change the
You need to change who's
entire.
listening when you bring these warnings.
They don't bring warnings. I am called to translate the warnings. When a child cannot sleep because they see the eyes in their closet, or they hear the voice under their bed, when a king's castle continues to fall because he's building it on a poor location. When those people encounter that which they can't explain, they turn to someone who can give them an explanation. They could change who they turn to get a different result. That is where I come in.
It's good to have one who can listen. And she's going to kind of glance at the spirits that have been following him. And then back to him.
Well, there are many different people who are willing to listen. It's whether they are willing to tell that story or if they're telling their own story for their own purpose.
Do you have any stories to tell now? Warnings to be translated.
He gestures to the area and he says, "This entire festival is about stories. Stories of those who are gone, stories of those who are still here, stories of those who seek to remember what was being lost." I could tell those stories for days, for weeks, months. I could tell them until Papa Midnight was forced to pull me back from the grave to tell them again, or to tell more. But doing so doesn't do them justice, not when they have been given a forum to tell them themselves. My role tonight is not to tell stories, but to hear them, so that when this night is over, I can remember those stories and relay them to others beyond.
When she shook his hand, was it warm or cold? Or gloved?
It would have been warm.
Okay. At times you speak like you're one who is already dead. You've been there, haven't you?
He looks around and he says, "In this city, more than any other, the other side is also right here. It is a much shorter journey. And for those of us who need to walk the other side, a much easier journey."
Be one with them. It has been a long time. Too long.
Tonight is also a night when the other side draws near. A time when darkness reigns supreme.
Darkness is at its peak of power tonight. But there is that spark of hope born in this night. That spark of hope of the spring coming, the plants rising from the dead, trees bearing fruit.
That too is part of this turning, the coming of the new, because the wheel turns always. And if you sit at the edge of the wheel, yes, you will reach a bottom. But the great secret to the very bottom of a wheel is there's no place to go but up.
The wheel will always continue, whether you are driving it or being driven. The wheel will always go on. You like to be one with all of the people. I see a friend of mine. Looks like she's about to be doing some dance ritual over there. If you wish to accompany me to watch or even participate if you wish.
He turns and he says, "One cannot learn stories with deaf ears and closed eyes."
And she will begin walking towards Avalon and her pagan dance ritual thing.
Well, she's attempting to find one. She wants to get in on one. Rather than just wander around, she wants to get in on something.
There's a couple of different ones. I'm going to assume you want to avoid the ones around bonfires.
Well, I mean, yeah. And she can get in on, sweet.
Um, Probably the first one you're going to notice is a Celtic Druidic. Um, it's got a like a stone altar type setup, and then there's a large fountain that they're kind of dancing around.
Ellie. Time to hop in on some of this so as not to be rude.
And it's fairly, I mean, they make room for you fairly easily.
Yay. Did we have any idea as to what kind of deal I stepped in on, or?
They do. Give me 1 second here. Apparently my computer's not cooperating. Why would it, right?
Of course. That would be too much to ask.
Alright. Where are you? That moment when literally nothing wants to cooperate.
Computer still being a turd.
Yeah, a little bit. Think I got it sorted out. Alright. Not gonna keep wasting time with it. Just switch it over and go this route. Oh, found it. So, as everybody's kind of moving around, this guy is chanting.
Is he chanting by himself?
He is leading it, but the rest of the group, as they're dancing, is following.
Okay.
And you would notice that the as they're moving, uh, obviously is those who are the most maybe experienced is the best word, but most well established
Okay.
among his followers. Their footsteps are actually tracing like glyphs in the dust.
What kind of glyphs?
Ones you would actually be familiar with because they're Ogum, which is traditional Celtic runes. But as they move, his from chanting it turns to actual words, and he uh, gestures to the um, first of the fountain, and then to his, and he starts with his chant, and he says, "We're all linked, just as a great tree. That which rises to the sky eventually falls back to the earth, decays, and nourishes that it might once again travel up the trunk. And just as this world is all connected, so too are we worlds in and of ourselves. We are connected by our own water, giving life to that which isn't. He gestures to the uh, pool and he says, or to the fountain again, he says, "For water is life. And just as water is life, so too do we have our own. It is literally a life's blood." And he draws a knife across the palm of his hand. And the blood starts to pour out, and he says, but our life's blood is no more than water, fundamentally. We have placed importance upon us because it is in us, because we have claimed it as ours. But it is the water that flows through the rivers of our veins, the streams. Just as water gives rise to life, so too does the blood in our body give rise to our own life. Our bones are no different than the stones of the earth. Our skin, simply the grass and meadows that carpet it. And he gestures to the pool behind him. And the blood coming from his hand, he waves his hand so some of the drops fall in the pool. Dips one hand in the water. And he says, we speak of ourselves as if we are somehow different or special, but we are all part of the link. We're all part and parcel. We're all linked. And as he says that, he gestures, and everyone dancing, they find their palms open up as well. And as their blood starts to drip too and get traced across the floor, he gestures and he says, and just as blood is no more than water, so too is water no less than blood. And with a gesture, he dips his clean hand into the fountain, and as he smears it across his face, it leaves like blood streaks from his fingertips. And he turns around and he says, we speak of bones breaking, speak of flesh and bone, of skin and blood. He raises up one fist and he says, we are more than blood. We are more than bone. But we are also less too. And he raises one hand up and he closes his fist, and as he brings it down, the stone altar cracks in half. And he gestures and he says, for see, the hand of man can shatter the stone table, because it is no less than the stone. And he turns back and he says, and see, the blood of the earth runs red, for it is no less than blood. We are linked. Our faith, our life. We are not you and I. We are we. We are many because we are one, and one because we are many. I'll have you guys roll a perception awareness.
All right.
And then, yeah, there should probably be a hunger roll. Because
3
there's a
successes.
literal fountain of blood.
Yeah.
And 3 successes on the perception awareness.
It's the perception awareness. And then, oh, good God, I hardly ever have to roll this. What is it?
Self-control.
Self-control. That's weird. It was one of
Difficulties
those.
based on what the ST says. Could be as low as like 3 or 4, as high as 10.
I'm going to say it's probably a 5. It'd be easier for you because it's clearly part of a faith practice that you're familiar with, but at the same time, it is a fountain of blood.
Oh my God! Seriously? I have 1 on the awareness roll and nothing on the self-control roll.
All right. Oh, I guess
Oh boy. Oh boy.
What did I say?
At least it wasn't a botch, so it was like fangs out lunging into it. It's just now you have to figure out how to get in there, and that's your prime directive.
right.
But you still have that rational mind to figure out how to do it. Versus the beast taking over if you had botched.
I mean, that's always fun too.
I mean, oh boy. I'm sure bathing in this blood would be frowned upon.
I mean, he did just smear a handful of it across his face, so.
Jump in naked. Nobody'll notice.
That was something I had contemplated, to be completely honest with you.
You have to do it naked because then you don't have blood all over your clothes.
All right. With the awareness rolls, there would Bonte, you would notice that there's a similarity between this guy and Avalon. It's not exact, but he's got some sort of similar essence to him. Avalon, your 1 would at least tell you that this guy, even though he's obviously not a vampire, is somehow linked to the same spirit that your bloodline is. And then you can feel free to proceed from there.
Boy. Well, I mean. Oh. Let's see. I suppose I could start with guess we won't really say bathing in the blood, but sticking my hand in it and running some over my face so it conveniently goes over my mouth, and start drawing symbols. That way I have something. I'm trying not to be painfully obvious that I'm sticking it in my mouth.
Told you, you're gonna end up taking it in the mouth.
Mm-hmm. Going to happen. Just
Is she the only one going up
yes.
to drink out of the fountain or play at the fountain?
Am I the only one playing with the blood?
Um, the other ones, this guy who's leading them is like marking them with it, but they're obviously people that follow him already.
At least the symbols I would be drawing on myself would probably be familiar to these people.
Yeah, they're relatively familiar. Yeah, it looks like Dresser is joining us.
Probably the only one slowly taking my clothes off to draw blood symbols too. Killing.
Okay. So you are in the process of undressing next to a fountain of blood.
That's what's happening.
Oh, well, I was just making sure I was correct in my understanding first. As I now have to go find a sheet because I'm going to be required to roll things I didn't think I was going to have to roll today.
You always have to roll things you don't expect to have to roll.
I know, I should just plan for it by now. Just open everything I have.
One time I was prepared like that for a game. The players
But
didn't do anything odd, and I felt so out of place. I was like, who are you? What did you do with my players?
Yes, you could use a presence to try and bait other or encourage other people to join in.
I'm going to do that. Let's see. Spend a willpower.
Which one are you using?
I only have awe. That hired it. Oh yeah, no, it's just that's right. You said it's.
It's just a dice pool for disciplines.
Yep. Oh, and of course I have 0, and I'm glad that I said I was spending that willpower because that at least gives me 1.
One person is paying attention and joining you. Does Jacob look unnerved yet at the crying that he's hearing?
Not unnerved. He seems to be looking around, but you could realize that he did already tell you he gets called in when there's upset spirits.
Mm-hmm.
So to him, that he's looking
Trying to
for an
figure out
upset,
when he is.
right?
Mm-hmm. She's gonna look at him and say, trying to be all inclusive, right? Perhaps we should go join them.
It's just perhaps.
Actually, I think I see the man that would be best for joining in to get that going for her. Fellow over there, he does fantastic hair. His name's Dresser. And she will wave over at Dresser.
Dresser will wave back. Hey, how y'all doing? What's going on?
Dresser, this is Jacob Evans. Jacob Evans, this is Dresser.
Dresser will immediately give him a pound and pull him in close. He goes, "What's up, player?"
Looks
Just
like the orgy's starting without you, man.
Oh, word?
And she's gonna point
Where?
over at Avalon and somebody else getting naked and playing in the blood and having sexual relations.
Keep thinking about it for a second.
You were saying you wanted to try something different. Someone
Yeah,
different.
but other chick gave me the number first. I mean, she could give me the number too, and she ain't do it though. I don't think she want my dresser.
I don't think she much cares right now.
Why? Something going on? Can I get a perk awareness roll, John?
you could.
Cool. I'm gonna do that. But, oh, roll with dice. Bullshit. See what happens. I got odd success, John. Blessings, weirdness.
You would notice that Avalon is filled with apparently some fairly hefty appetites right now. And she has suddenly encouraged some others to join in.
So how many people are at Paganfest? And Justin really showed up to see what was. He was hoping, his friend was going to be there, but
it's a fair section of the French Quarter. There's numerous areas, including the in front of the crossroads, which is where they are currently, partially because Papa Midnight has asked for no fires there. There's bonfires in other areas. But there's probably well over 100 people total.
And okay, do I have to make some sort of willpower check to not engage in my issue, or is it a choice I can make?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'd say probably should have a willpower check at this point, since there's literally an opportunity directly in front of you.
But also willingly just give into it.
Yeah, Justin has control issues. He looks over and goes, so how come you ain't playing in the pool though?
It's not her time. Unless you want to come play with me, and then she kind of give him a wink.
I'm just saying, is it all the orifices? I mean, we could try.
That is up for you to find out.
I'm just trying to figure out how this curse works. In the name of science.
Science. I don't think science has everything figured out yet.
Because the stuck-up chick is naked and covered in blood and willing to give it up. Something going on. I'm not saying something bad. Something going on.
Take Jacob with you. Have some fun.
I don't know, Jacob. I don't know. I mean, what kind of freaky deaky stuff Jacob into? I don't know. Jacob, what kind of freaky deaky stuff you into? I'm all about consent.
And he says, well, it's not practice I typically engage in.
Is Jacob a mage?
Yes.
Bruh, you ain't never done this before.
It's not really my thing.
Well,
I'm more of a hang out and talk to dead people kind.
you and Bon T should get along famously. While he's talking, he is staring at the naked people writhing in the blood pool.
Would you like me to hold your coat for you?
No, that's not what I want you to hold, Bon T.
What would you like me to hold for you then?
Well, I mean, if it's your orifice is deadly, I mean, your hand should probably be useless. I mean, it should probably not kill folks, right?
She just shrugs like, I don't know.
There really ain't one way to find out. Just throwing it out there. I mean, if it's optional. And she'll be doing this. This freaky deaky badness about to happen. If somebody's raising rituals, I don't like rituals and I'm not a part of that. That makes me sad.
There was a ritual. He made the fountain a fountain of blood.
Who made the fountain of blood?
She gestures over at the man drawing blood symbols on people.
Excuse me. Be right back. Yeah, Justin walks over to the dude. Excuse me, Cliff.
He turns to you and says, "Have you come to join us?"
What? What is this? Who this to? This ain't some kind. You ain't trying to kill nobody with this stuff, is you?
He says, "No, this is nothing. We do not practice that kind of dark magic. This is a rite of unity."
Right, unity with all the blood though. What's with all the blood though? That's what I don't get though. I don't get that.
So you have joined us late.
Yeah, I mean, I just got here. I mean, it took a while to get through all the first file, and I stopped for a hand job or two on the way here. I mean, I was just get that. But I'm just saying, with all these people and all this blood and stuff, I mean, this is kosher. You ain't trying to put nobody over, is you?
No, blood is a symbol of life.
The hell it is blood. I mean, if you were Verbena or something, I mean, that means, you know.
He chuckles and he says, "I'm nothing so easily titled."
Well, you tell me what you is, player. I mean, where you hang your head at? You know, mystically speaking or whatever. Because you know, I'm all down to join as long as ain't no evil and devil happening.
He chuckles again and he says, "We don't partake of evil. It is not of the earth."
We who? Just tell me who you representing, bro. I mean,
He gestures to himself and he says, "Myself, those who follow me, the ways of druidism,
who is Druidism? Who is he?
the great tree of life.
Great
That
Tree
is
of
what
Life.
we represent."
Represent Tree of Life, huh? Represent Tree of Life. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He gestures to the people around him and he says, "These people come to me because they know that there's something else out there, but they do not know what."
Does your little group have a name or?
They have dreams, but they have not yet awakened from them to see the rest of the world.
Man, you know good and hell well some people gonna feel real salty about what you about to do. You know that, right?
He kind of looks at you and he says, "That's why it's Paganfest tonight. Because everyone knows
Yes,
that
man.
religion is nothing but showmanship and trickery, isn't it?"
With Prime Side on, is this dude? Wait, is this dude the source of the come fucking stuff?
No, he's a mage, but the lust part of it does not appear to be coming from him.
Does he have naughty resonance?
Nope.
Does the blood fountain thing have blood resonance?
No, but it does have the same resonance as him.
Huh?
No, but it does have the exact same resonance as him.
Well, let's tempt fate, shall we? I'm about to do something extra. Let's do that. He gets bucket naked like everybody else. I mean, if we don't have that sort of thing, let's go do have that sort of thing. Come on, Banty. Let's see how many bodies we can drop. Come on.
She like points to herself, like really kind of look on her face.
Hey, let's see how many people die. Let's check this curse out.
It is not a curse, but a blessing.
Well, you know what? Everybody when they supposed to die is just gonna have some good body, stuff. I mean, how's that bad? Well,
She
super
just
show.
kind of shrugs and starts walking down there and unwrapping her dress.
Because Dresser's a fool and has this flaw, he doesn't care, and he's checked out. He's checked it out for the evil, and everything seems to be kosher. Other than his normal road of I don't want no diseases, he will he's gonna go to town. I don't feel the need to describe it because I'd like you to be able to keep a YouTube account.
You would notice a couple of the Greeks have come over and joined in apparently as well.
I would like to make a carousing check to be the party guy. It's like this ain't enough people.
All right.
I will make a charisma plus carousing roll.
Sure, that'll work.
I hope that counts. That's just does it.
Oh well, that'll bring in a couple people.
To attempt to be slightly circumspect in what I say, there are PC participants who does not participate with Dresser. I would like to know.
Venti will participate if he wants to.
He
With her.
does, and he will attempt, and he will test out the limits of your curse by saying which one kills him. He will try them all of them that you will let him try. He will try.
Okay.
And as far as Avalon, if indeed she will let him look at the tree, that will be the position that he will keep her in, because the tree's pretty.
The guy there will who's kind of running it will move and indicate to Dresser as well that the stone table altar is available if he would find that useful.
As Dresser is multi-capable, he will invite the other two PCs to perform on said table simultaneously. For he has enough skill to do so.
Well, I suppose it all depends. Has Avalon had her fill of blood?
And did she have to feed off somebody to get the blood she wanted, or?
Well,
now, again, attempt to be circumspect and respectful. John, Dresser will, of course, because this is a chance to actually. There's a bunch of participants here. There's a major here. This is who's look a ritual, because Dresser's gonna do one, because naked.
Okay.
What he will attempt to do is use life. Actually, no, he won't. This is not his. This is not his party.
I mean,
My bad.
To be fair, I think at this point it's been deemed to be everybody's party, but
right?
Oh, well,
since everybody's coming,
he, no, I will be using life magic to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm gonna opt to not go down at all. That's magic.
That's fair. Because if you're going to know those tricks, you might as well use them.
I mean, I'm just saying. For an asset. I'll spend. I don't have any presents. I'm using a focus, which is hey, let's fix. And then I don't have to, and I'm gonna lower the difficulty. It will start at 7. Oh, 6 because it's just me, but 1 less because focus. So 6. I'm gonna roll by it. Woo! 3. Scramina. And because I'm terrible, it got bigger. Like a lot bigger.
Huh? That's a valid life effect. I don't know if there's necessarily dots to track that one, but we can improvise.
I mean, it's only like double digits. Because 13 is a good number.
Bunty is relishing the sex while she can get it.
If I die, oh well. Again, I want to reiterate. He never sees Avalon's face, just her tattoo.
All the tattoos.
That's it. That's it. Because all he wants to see is the tree. She is in no position where the tree is not evident. And on the stone is where they do it. Unless someone says they don't want to do it on the stone. Because Sahajiha with Extreme King 3. And he has, I can't remember the word for it, but it's in front of people.
Exhibitionist.
Right.
I believe that's the word you're looking for.
And apparently,
it is too.
Vampires don't care. So. I don't think we need to make any rolls. I think we can fade black. And John, you can just tell us what happens afterwards.
That's fine.
Because I don't have a way to do a large enough effect. I could just build successes. I could just build successes. Hey, John, I'm just going to build successes. But that's only, we don't have enough time for it for an hour or 2 or 3. I think that Monty will break before then, and I don't want to do that.
Oh, you have little faith.
I'm telling you, you're ready to play it. And I mean, if you think you got it, we can go.
I'm not the one gonna die from this.
I don't care. It's amazing. If Jessica literally dies from this, I'm gonna laugh my black ass off, and I don't care. I have a flaw. It's a thing. But yeah, John. I mean, okay. Here's the deal. We can see who quits first. I'm a cheat. and use magic. Roll.
That's fine.
Because apparently Paganfest was all about having a lot of sex on a stone table with a vampire, a mage, and another mage. Like, covered in blood and really not giving two fucks. Apparently I'm going to die at the end of this thing anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So,
No, within 24 hours.
I just want to be the person who lasts the longest. That's all I want. I think John stopped giving a fuck.
No, John was just reading something.
I'll burn willpower, damn it. I'll do it. I'm pantry, bitch. I'll go body control. I don't even care.
Yeah, that might be the next step, but you're doing all right so far.
This awesome you shit I can't. How many all this blood out of his dreadlocks, though? That's the problem.
What's that?
How many all this blood out of his dreadlocks, though?
Magic. I can get the blood out of your dreadlocks. If you survive.
It's funny you think that she can talk.
Is that better?
I mean, assume what you like. All I said was, it's funny you think that she can talk. Take it how you want. I don't want to get in trouble. You do notice that his nails, when he digs them into the stone, they do dig into the stone.
I'm going to need...
Oh shit. They push babies out of those, Holly. I don't think that thing is going to do anything.
Hey, on the upside, you'll know who the baby daddy is now.
He's not. I told you, he's not doing that tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Like all night, he just can't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna die. It don't matter.
Alright, what is Dresser's willpower? That's what I need.
Oh, okay. I believe he has that at 50.
I suppose I can go that route, yeah.
He got a 5.
You poor weak-willed little boy.
No one told you could talk.
This is my imagination. I can do what I want.
That's a hell of a roll set.
Don't make me roll Daredevil. I'll do it.
No, you hear a voice in your head as you find yourself becoming even more enthusiastic.
Word? I'm gonna break something.
And
Y'all.
you get suddenly have the taste of rum and cigar smoke in your mouth.
Oh shit! I get it. Shit.
And you hear this voice. It's been a long time, man. Not many with the enthusiasm of you.
This just says, it's the tree. Does Avalon's fang, like, here's a question, just for my own edification. Can it be so good that Avalon can't keep her fangs in? Because that'd be awesome.
I don't know if there's a role for that.
I don't care. Damn it. Just let it be that good. I'm gonna die. Come on, dude.
You hear the voice in your head chuckle. And he says, "Oh, you know a bit about the ways of the body too."
He goes, you want to take over?
This is good. Very good.
I'm gonna have to write this in the fan fiction. I mean, I know what I want to say, but I can't. Because I'm fake balls deep in the ST's life.
The ST also knows how to handle a mature game, so.
I don't.
Apparently you do.
Don't worry. I'll write it and keep it in my dark folder of hatred. To be shared with none of you.
You hear the voice again, and he says, "So tell me, little man, are we going to enjoy ourselves, or do I have to take charge?"
What you want to do, partner?
Tis a night for us to leave our hidden gates and see the world put on by our host, the Papa Midnight. It would be bad form for us not to enjoy his hospitality.
So basically, you want to fuck everybody, not just these two.
I see we speak the same language.
All right. I'm going to die anyway. Why not?
Oh, we don't have no death tonight. The gates are closed. Because who is there to man them?
Okay, partner. Let's do this. He will assume that the two of them will be able to. Okay. He will assume that the what is Avalon and Banshee doing? I've been talking long enough. What are they doing? Tell me now.
Enjoying herself.
Okay. You say
And
same.
whatever
I
else
swear
is
to God,
happening.
Holly.
Yep.
Cool. He will get off the off of the altar, and with his rampant manliness, He will carry who's ever still attached to him while walking and resting, and move among the crowd, dipping random people in the blood and going ham. That's what he's gonna do.
All right.
Didn't tell me this free ride was gonna travel.
Benefits of magic.
She would briefly hear a kind of a different accent and a slightly different timbre of voice come from him. And the voice says, "Not to ride if it don't move."
She's gonna smile.
Let's just put it this way: there are many limbs on a person, and limbs can go places, and that's what we're gonna say. Yeah. That tree will be implanted in his mind forever.
She's gonna reach up and caress his face and say, "It's been a long time, Papa." Referring to the Baron.
Papa get it. Oh no, Dresser goes, "I like it when she calls me daddy."
The voice chuckles in your head a little bit.
Poor Joey. I think you broke him.
I'm okay with that.
But yes, suffice to say, all night, banging. What happens after that? Because the innuendo is amazing. I'm very happy about it, and I will write about it later in my web one. But what happens after?
Well, the most noticeable particular item would be the at the excuse me, the pop of midnight, as well as the gentleman who was seen with him. What just happened here? Yeah, I just fucked something all up. There we go.
I will end up doing blood and rum body shots all night long, in addition to lots of sex. Because when you have that option, you take it. Are we all in agreement?
Mm-hmm.
This man is there with the Baron as well. And with both of them is also a native man. And Papa Midnight gets up and says, I thank you all for joining us tonight. It has been a strange and wondrous night.
I think I broke something.
He looks down over everybody as he steps up and he says, tonight, on the longest night of the year, we gathered here and regardless of faith, we are those whose practices are derided, downtrodden, brushed aside, sometimes even assaulted, destroyed. And tonight we fought back, not in a violent crusade, but by coming together and finding connection, unity, common ground, regardless of origin, regardless of belief. And we did what had not been done before. Tonight, the longest night of the year, we held the night at bay. The gates remained shut. And tonight they were sealed tightly enough, not just hidden, but closed, that the gatekeepers were free to come out. The night when the barons and the Geedy walk among us. This is what it means to be part of New Orleans, to be part of a city of mystery and magic.
Jessica was saying, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Such a celebration of life and faith that even the dead have participated.
Out of character. So he can smoke a joint with a dead dude?
Good.
I want to make sure I smoke a joint with a dead dude.
He
And
gestures.
drank with a dead dude.
He says, I appreciate all of you, what you've done for the communities, your own community, and making it part of our community. I ask that the leaders of each of those groups meet with me after. We will discuss as well the growth of this community. Because this is a city where once our magics were crushed out, our faiths were stomped, derided, beaten out of some of us. But we speak with a voice again. There's a voice that calls from the other side. And we, brothers and sisters, we will take back the city. Not in a grand crusade, not in a violent uprising, but in a faith in our actions. And we will let them remember. The gates stand here. And the gates are not owned by those who call themselves saints, holy men. The gates are respected first by those that know the way. And then as he steps down, this guy here steps up. He says, "Anarchy is not chaos. We do not come to spread chaos. We do not come to bring rampant violence. Anarchy is to bring violence, yes. To bring the fight when it is needed, but to bring more than that. To bring change. On behalf of those who call ourselves anarchists, who stand a different path, fight a different battle, a hidden battle. We thank you for your welcome, for the opportunity to join you, to be part of your faith, to bring our different faiths. Those of us who practice the Creole ways, the voodoo, those of us who practice Wiccan, pagan ways, even those that practice religions long thought lost. Everybody can give me a perception alertness on that one.
I'm a fail.
2 successes. Super paying
3.
attention right now.
2. 2 chain.
3.
She shouldn't be able to.
All right, you guys would all notice that this guy briefly makes direct eye contact with the the preacher Luther Gaines when he says that part about lost religions. And he says, "We've been welcomed and stood as allies. I hope that we can continue that because, well, we don't all keep faiths, or indeed, there are some who don't keep any faith. That does not make us your enemies. We have different ways, but we can respect the ways you have. We too know what it is to respect the Baron. And with that, he steps down. The native guy steps up. He's covered in tattoos as well, and he says, "Our ways are different. Old ways. Almost lost ways. We know that struggle as well. But what was lost can be reclaimed, can be grown again. It only takes one seed to plant a forest. There's what we do here tonight. Are our faiths all allies? Yes. Are we friends? More than likely, no. Will we be? That remains to be seen. What is important is that we remember that while we might even be enemies in some ways, there are greater enemies out there that oppose us, that stand against us. Those who would crush us, grind us down, and reshape us to be what they wish. They want to put us into nice little categories and compartments. Savage, heathen, they call us. And we might even agree. We might look at your pagan ways or your foreign gods and call you fool, pagan, heathen, savage, ignorant white man. But ours are merely words. It is they who would enforce their beliefs upon us. Well, I don't agree with many of the beliefs here tonight. I agree with your right to practice them. And I hope that when the time comes, and they come from my beliefs, you would have the same view and would stand with me.
Jester throws up his fist. He goes, "I'll stand with you. I got you, Playboy."
He nods to you, and as he steps down, a couple of the native group do kind of take up like a war chant. Then Papa Midnight steps up again and he says, "Let us go and await the dawn in whatever fashion we wish. For some of us, that will mean a fine rum or tequila. For others, a cigar, or perhaps something a little stronger. There's someone who will take comfort with another, whatever fashion it is. Go in peace and safety. And let us gather again in peace and safety. If not as friends, then at least as respected enemies with a common cause. Leaders, you're welcome to visit the crossroads. Let us palaver as a group. Let us talk one-on-one, however it is you wish. We all lead communities, but we have now become part of a larger community, one that we have forged tonight, spun tonight, and wove tonight. As he steps down, he
That's right.
waves again.
He looks at everybody and he he takes one of his nails and he draws it across his wrist. He goes, "Who will be my blood brother tonight?"
Say that again. I didn't catch all of it.
He said, "Who will be my blood brother tonight?"
And you said he cut his wrist?
Yeah, well, a little bit.
Okay.
He goes, "Let's not bullshit. We know how they used to do it back in the day. Let's just do it." You want to force some kind of brotherhood or whatever around this motherfucker? Let's do it. Let's not play no half-ass games. Let's not be no speeches. Fucking is awesome, but let's put it down.
Blood to blood.
All day.
And she will offer out her hand.
Do you want me to make a carousing roll or a compassion or some kind of roll, something, guys?
Let's go with either expression or leadership.
Skills, dresser. I have charisma. I will roll charisma.
No, that's fair.
I will use life magic and be all impassioned and stuff to lower the difficulty. I will roll my irritate first. Three successes, so normally it would be 6. Yeah, I assume it's 3 now. John?
What's that? 3 successes?
What? Yeah, so that lowers the difficulty on my social roll that I'm about to make by 3.
Correct.
So what was it normally?
Standard.
Okay. So that's 1, 2, because trustworthy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You get a fair spread of people approaching you. One of which is this older gentleman, and he's dressed much like you see there, but he's carrying a cane decorated with a skull top. And he comes up and he says, "I must say, young man, you certainly impressed many tonight with your charisma and ability to express yourself."
Spirit, get in, partner.
He holds out his hand, and you can see he's already he has a fresh cut across the palm.
Yeah, do it. I mean, you don't know no better.
He says, "My name is Damien Cash."
Call me dresser. I was trimming.
I understand, Mr. Dresser, that you're a rather popular man in the community.
Yeah, I do what I can do.
I gather you've got probably some connections to some of the younger folk in this community too, especially those that like to maybe tiptoe on the wrong side a little bit.
Yeah, I used to have some goon tendencies.
Get any of them that start slipping too far and need someone to help get them back on the right side of things, you sending them to Grandpa Damien here.
All right, partner. I
We
like when
all
the
got
old
our,
head.
we
I
all
like
got
when
our
the,
vices, and we've all danced some slippery slopes. But
I like when the old heads trying to teach the young bucks something. I mean, Bonte real old school and she teaching folks stuff. And I was on trees are pretty. But yeah, we all trying to keep it 100, keep everybody safe and everything. So if you want to come down and talk to the youth centers or whatever, and lay some old school knowledge on, that would be amazing. Anytime you want to do that, I'll set that up.
I think that would be beneficial.
And I didn't know they did this type of stuff, man. That's probably why they told me to come back here. I didn't know they did this type of thing. You hear me? No, you feel me? You heard me? I'm down with whatever makes stuff better. I mean, I got issues, but I mean, if folk want to make stuff better for the boys in the Treme or in other parts of the hood or whatever, I'm down. Now let's do his blood brother type thing. He does his thing.
Then he gives you a real formal handshake, but then he kind of, like it starts formal, but he transitions into like a, obviously somewhat milder
Yeah,
because he's an older man, but gives you kind of the old school handshake.
he will do the soul shake, John. It's okay to say soul shake. I got it.
Couple other individuals of note that come up to you. One is um, Asian fellow with a comes up and he's carrying a traditional canto and cuts his hand and says
He slices across his wrist too.
it's a
I mean,
little different.
across his hand. Shake it.
Little different than how they do it where I am from, but the meaning is, of course, the same.
Sure, you're right, Playboy. We all trying to be together up in here. This is this night's supposed to be about, right? I see you don't have no
Indeed.
pants on.
My name is Bayushi. I'm a professor at the university.
All right.
Yeah. I found it quite interesting. I study faith. Originally, it was a study of society, social study dynamics, and that transitioned into to psychology, mental illness, and faith. And it was quite interesting to see how readily you were able to convince people to join you.
A guy like that. Sometimes. But to be keep it real, I mean, if you want to talk about like religions and stuff, Bonte's a straight up priestess of something kind of hoodoo something. Ain't you Bonte? Ain't you a priestess or something?
And she'll smile and nod.
Bayushi is the one she saw earlier, by the way, who was having conversations with the spirits.
Mm.
He says, well, as I said, faith and psychology can go hand in hand. So I would like to think that you simply offered something that appealed to them psychologically, not that you were deliberately manipulating them, and or that the chances of you finding a group of people who all happen to have the exact same mindset already is unlikely. But I must say your charisma and your ability to read a crowd was impeccable.
You said y'all wanted us all to be together. I want us all to be together because this fucked up shit's gonna be out there. We gonna when we come in town, we all gonna have to come together and do something. I figured start small. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, blood brothers means stuff to some folk. That means something to some kind of people.
It's a valid point. I can't argue, as I said, part of psychology, which is social studies and group dynamics. You've certainly taken what Papa Midnight is trying to do here to heart, so I can respect that.
Hey, I'm trying to get in where I fit, help where I can. It's all about that internal. You trying to make the outside world as cool as your inside world. You know what I'm saying? Internal alchemy, external alchemy, same thing.
Indeed. Yes, he leaves. One other guy comes up who's wrapped in black robes, including over his face and stuff, and he says, "I wouldn't pretend to take your blood, for the possibilities that can be used for in the wrong hands are dangerous."
I trust you, player. You wouldn't be here if you was down with some bad stuff, right? Like super naive face.
Well, we all like to think we would do no harm, but when the opportunity presents itself,
Hey, look, this is a leap of faith, dog. Like we all came here on faith, right? I mean, doing all this to do it. I did this blood brother thing. That's no power trip or nothing, but just let folks know that just really mean what he say. I mean, this is great and fun, and I'm never gonna get this tree that's in my brain burned out, or what Bonte looks like with no head wrap on, out of my brain on baseball. But all the rest of that it's just important. That bonding is just this is important too, and I want folks to know that I mean what I say. So I'm willing to give you the blood thing, and you give me your blood thing, and we can cement our relationship. I don't got no ulterior motives. As long as you don't, I mean, we can handle it.
well, if we are to exchange a mark of faith, then I suppose a gift to the one extending that trust would be appropriate as a token of respect. So he holds out one hand to shake with you, and out of his robe with his other hand, he pulls a small jar, and it's got a authentic wooden cork, but you can see a green hash in there.
Oh, word?
And
Oh, cool.
he says, "This ain't no street corner hash, though. I suggest you make sure you're settled in before you enjoy this one."
I mean, this is probably the only way I'm gonna get Avalon's draws off again, and Bonchi too. So I'm gonna say this for later.
He nods, shakes your hand, and says, "The name is Khurshid."
And we dress it.
Well, I best be.
At this point, he's taking like 4 levels of lethal, just so you know. You don't care.
He says, "I best be going. We wouldn't want the night to get too riled up, especially if my friend Amari, he's having a night without cage fights. He gets riled up, you know. Dog that
Hey,
hasn't been left off his chain recently."
I like dog. You pit?
He gestures to the
Monty's just chuckling in the background.
to a rather large Norseman with no shirt on, and he says, "Not quite. Closer to a wolf."
That is a big ass dude. Poppy, how come you chose my skinny ass? Look, that's a big motherfucker over there. You could have got that.
You asked.
Oh, my bad.
You did not ask, and so I.
Is that one still around, or she leave already?
I think she's sated for the moment, out by the fountain. She might be sitting in the back. I lost sight of her.
Oh, I was gonna joke about how like, she might like some white meat.
She's listening at the back.
He points you. Look at that big mother. Look at him. You could have been in that. He's so damn big. Anyway.
I said you'd regret it. That you did not wish it would have happened. Aye?
What? Oh no, I'm good like wood. I got this hash to make it happen again too. I'm ready.
Like I said, just a matter of asking.
After all the leader type people like leave or whatever, Jester will and give him the blood thing. Like he's visibly drained at this point, John.
Okay.
And he kind of sits down, and the Baron is probably gone out of his head now. And he sits down and looks around at all the people, the various states of messed upness or whatever. He's like, so he looks at my king and goes, so this is the only time I can do this, and I won't die.
Until they have something going on and they decide that they want a night off.
So you just stay thirsty until something like this happens and somebody can give you the D.
No, I stay thirsty until somebody's time has come. And then I make sure that it is peaceful. Or at least they have good memories going into it.
You are the least peaceful anyway.
Is that not what you wanted?
I'm just saying, that noise ain't natural. I got to hear that again.
As you wish.
I think I can walk. I think I can walk. What?
You will get better.
But yeah, he will attempt to get dressed and unnaked. Get if I don't. He don't know how vampires work, so he'll just kind of poke Avalon. You good? You good?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a T-shirt with that tattoo on it. He has to hold that cell phone and go snap. Anyway, you gonna be able to walk, ride home? You good?
I'm good, thanks. And she will actually, this time she will remember to give him her card.
Well,
during the last social scene.
So do you want me to call you?
Entirely up to you.
Okay. See, I hit it, and then you get me again. Damn.
I mean, unless you prefer me to be mean, then I can be mean. I don't really like being mean.
You didn't tell me he was a goddamn vampire. Bonte, did you know she was a vampire?
Bonte's just gonna sit there and smile sweetly, very innocently.
He's a vampire. Don't that don't work. I was just with you. I know you don't know how to do that innocent face.
Well, I hope your question is at least answered now.
More research might be needed. Just saying. I mean, but you know, I get that this was just for the night and probably won't ever happen again. It was awesome. Thank you. I'm not joking about the t-shirt. It's gonna really happen. It's gonna be a thing.
T-shirt, I'll know.
Huh?
A T-shirt, I guess I'll know what it means, huh?
Yup. Bonte, thank you. Like now I know what the head wrap is looks like and gone out next year when the whole death thing ain't happening. I'm down.
Could be next month, depends on what their wants are.
I will break it off in the spine if it's because damn, that sound is unnatural. I told you. People don't scream like that. That's not normal.
Seems to come pretty naturally to me.
Freaky. Oh no, not me. I did something right.
That I can agree with.
He smiles and he friendly hugs everyone. He goes, "Did anybody need a ride home or to the Waffle House?"
Think I'll make it.
I'm pretty sure I have rides waiting for me.
See, that was awesome. Awesome. Both of you. Awesome. And yeah, he will John Drescher will make his way out after giving daps and hugs to everybody. I think John fell asleep.
Nope. If everybody's meandered out, then we will wrap up here.
Yep.
There's been another Shadows of New Orleans scene. This was our solstice scene again for those who missed that at the beginning. Backdated because of being a little late. Thank you, players, for playing and watchers for watching. Look forward to seeing you another night.